Let's take that opportunity now to move into a special series. It is the longest running television news series done in this complicated year of 2020. We've been at it for 3.5 months. Literally hundreds and hundreds of Indian entrepreneurs, thinkers, economists, people who know the ins and outs of living and breathing wealth creation in this country. We've spoken to them, we've heard their brilliant ideas, showcased their brilliant work, all in an important purpose. And the purpose is this: we have to have a collective realization that we are all together in this ship called India. And for us to succeed, all the people around us must succeed. We have too often, for too many years, looked abroad for the best examples, including to our very own Indians who end up abroad and become great successes. For us to actually imbibe the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat, first we have to imbibe the concept of Atmanirbhar people, the people who are going to make the Atmanirbhar Bharat. It is a pleasure once again to introduce many of them joining us on the telecast through this special 1 hour, once again in partnership with Business World. And over the course of the next 1 hour, we'll be discussing the business, we'll be discussing the economy, we'll be discussing the great ideas that are out there, the ways in which our lives are changing, and more importantly, what we can do to make that better. The success of everyone on this panel adds up to the success of all of us. So let's quickly take the opportunity to get ourselves started. Joining us on the broadcast in this special session, we have Mr. Deepak Verma. He's the ex-managing director and CEO of Aviva Life Insurance. Dr. Yogesh Bhatia, he's the founder and CEO of Detail, B2B Adda and Pre-Love Device. Mr. Sumesh Devan, managing partner of Lex Favios. Mr. Niranjan Singh, managing director of Nature Minds. Mr. Rishi Chabadia, co-founder of Chef. And Ms. Ratnika Vyas, who is, as Anurag Batra would love to describe her, as a creative entrepreneur. She's an actor, and she's a live events presenter as well. And as always, the editor-in-chief of Business World with us, Dr. Anurag Batra. Set up the conversation, please.
All entrepreneurs must be creative. If you are not a creative person, you can't be an entrepreneur. So let me start with Mr. Verma. Mr. Verma, you've been on the boards of a very large company. You run a very large company yourself. How have been the last 150 days for you? And where do you see the economy and business going? Mr. Verma?
The last 150 days have been a novel experience. It started off with a great deal of uncertainty about where we were heading. But then, given my sort of situation in life, the fact that I'm retired, that I have a limited number of preoccupations outside, it's given me time to sort of introspect, to reflect, as well as pursue many of the interests that I've always had, but never had the opportunity to pursue. So I think in all honesty, I have to say that this period has agreed with me, although I do feel extremely sad and sort of unhappy about the fact that hundreds and millions of my countrymen have been suffering. So that is as far as I'm concerned.
And as far as, go ahead.
Yeah. As far as this economy is concerned, I think it's really crystal ball gazing at the moment, because any meaningful prognosis depends upon there are three variables in this situation. One is, we don't know how long this COVID epidemic is going to last, and therefore how long the lockdown and the impact on people, their employments, their livelihoods is going to last. So there may be need for more support. Number two, we don't know how quickly or how well many of the reforms that have been promised in the package delivered by the Prime Minister, how quickly they will be implemented and how quickly they will make a difference. And of course, a similar concern applies to infrastructure. There are impressive plans to spend 150,000 crores on infrastructure, but we really do not know how quickly that will happen and how quickly that will impact the economy. So I think it's crystal ball gazing, it's up for grabs.
Thank you for being so honest and so candid about the environment. At this point, to make any comments about the future, you have to be an astrologer, and a good one at that. But let me go to Mr. Niranjan Singh on the panel. Mr. Singh, you operate in the education domain. You have your educational institutions. You're in the mining sector, and so on and so forth. Tell us, the government in the mining sector has announced reforms. It has privatized mining, and mining in some ways central to the economic activity because, you know, it is needed for the engine of manufacturing, so to say. So tell us, how do you see the economy over the next 6 months, Mr. Singh?
Yes, Mr. Batra, thank you for calling me here. If we talk about mining, especially in mining has been a domain which has been helping India for a long time. In pre-independence times also, this was one of the reasons that we were, the East India Company came here. Mining was one of the major sectors which plays a bigger part in economy. In last few days, yes, definitely the government has come up with reforms that has added to the revenue to them. But on the same time, it has also made common miners like us difficult to reach to that level because some of the bigger corporates only they are able to access, they are able to win the bid and everything. So this is one of the, as it employs a lot of people, then it should be taken care of.
When do you see the impact? We know structurally, directionally, we are moving in the right direction. But when do you see a real impact on the economy? When do you see more investment in mining coming on from Indian players? And how will it unlock the economy? And in education, in my view, the digital divide has widened. While EduTech continues to make leaps and bounds, I think in most schools, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 cities and government institutions, the digital divide is widened. So give us a view both on when do you think the mining will start contributing in a real way to the economy, and second on education, do you see a hybrid model of education, or do you think at some stage your institutions will be on the cloud? You don't need physical infrastructure, a school on the cloud, an engineering school on the cloud. So give us your view on that, Mr. Singh.
Yeah, as I talked about mining earlier, now because I belong to a different other education site also, schools have been really struggling to understand how to go with it because they've been facing, during this last 150 days, they've been facing with so many norms coming up, so many these things they have to pay the salaries and everything. They have to they've been struggling to stand, if I say, but government tries to put a lot of pressure on them how to do this, how to do that, which for them it's really difficult for them to train their team to how to understand the changes.
Has your fees been impacted? Has your revenues been impacted? Or you see no impact on your revenue?
Definitely, because parents, 70% of parents, they are not paying fees. So for schools which have been new startups or something, they are really struggling in this sector. Although government sometimes tries to, put more pressure on, poking the private system, who has been responsible in creating a lot of value to education last 60 years. With the, on the other side, they don't think about this government schools, whether even the teachers and infrastructure are not present. So anyway, it's their job, so they have been doing it, and we'll try to do our job on our side.
Okay, Mr. Singh, we'll come back to you. Yogesh, you've been an entrepreneur for a while. You used the last 150 days to create new products and services. Tell us, what have you done in the last 150 days in context to business and entrepreneurship, and where do you see the economy going over the next 6 months? Yogesh, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, Yogesh, there'll be a mic on your screen. If you look at your screen, there'll be a mic there.
Yeah. Sumesh, till Yogesh gets it right, you run a law firm and you're dependent on how the business activity goes. I would like to know that I believe a lot of law firms are downsizing the law firms. they're taking salary cuts, and there is a fear that over the next 6 months, a lot of law firms may actually see the brunt of the economic slowdown. What is your view, Sumesh Dewan?
Definitely, there's been an economic, the economy is not going the way it should be, and that's having an impact on the businesses, the whole. Because the government of India typically, declare the economic package or economic stimulus, which has not got the desired results because the stimulus has not reached the corporates. So we, being a law firm and obviously representing a lot of corporate clients across various sectors, we see major challenges. Although government has typically give a moratorium of loans or a 6 months delay in filing of any insolvency proceedings or deferment of taxes, but that doesn't help much because now when the moratorium period is coming to an end, a lot of corporates are scared that what will happen because they really have no money. The interest rates have not come down, so only the moratorium has, so there may not be an extension of moratorium, there's still a suspense on it. So we as a law firm, of course, we bear the brunt where the clients, when you see your clients not be in a very healthy financial position, especially sectors like aviation, real estate, automotive, to name a few, have been very badly impacted. And there have been no real economy stimulus or packages being there, so having an impact. But for us, it's like as a law firm, we are less impacted by the view because we are seeing the clients seeking more legal advice. Because the companies are fearing they may have. Typically, a lot of companies are
litigation, commercial litigation is happening, so they need
commercial litigation going up because, of course, the judicial process has gone online. So again, the technology is not there. The judges don't have the technology, so only 10% cases are being heard. But what has substantially increased in the last few weeks is corporates looking advice on retrenchment issues, firing of employees, downsizing, termination of leases, or
what is force majeure? Has the definition of force majeure, which is very clear by law, do you think there are new interpretations to that?
Yes. So,
or applicability?
Absolutely, because force majeure, and typically most of the contracts done by any of the lawyers have never used the word epidemic or pandemic. These phrases were very barely used in force majeure. So force majeure was earlier like war or a fire or tempest. There were natural factors, but the COVID has created a new situation. So typically, most of the it may be lease agreements or performance of contracts. Typically, large contracts. We're working for a few solar companies where EPC contractors wanted an extension. So existing force majeure contracts, most of I'll say at least 95% of our contracts did not cover our COVID situation. But now everyone's biting up and new contracts being drawn up and these clauses are being ventured. Existing force majeure clauses, you are right, are more or less redundant in a way because they need the overall and typically they did not help in this situation.
And Sumesh, do you see large and mid-sized law firms going the cost-cutting route, reducing the salaries of partners, so on and so forth? Is
that a reality? Yeah. That's a reality because again, some of the ranging from mid-size to some of the largest law firms in the country have already downsized in terms of they may not be downsizing in numbers, but definitely in terms of salaries or because corporates your clients are demanding a fee reduction.
Absolutely. Sumesh, thank you for being here. We'll come back to you. Yogesh, I did ask you that I know that you utilize the last 120, 150 days to build new products and services. You built new products for the COVID economy, for the contactless economy. So tell us a sense of what you've done and how's the business panning out.
वेरी गुड इवनिंग सर, दिस साइड योगेश भाटिया। जैसा मेरा आपसे डिस्कशन हुआ, पहले चैट भी हुआ कि हम लोगों ने लॉकडाउन को सोचा, पूरी टीम एज अ टीम हम कैसे लॉकडाउन को लॉकडाउन कर सकते हैं और कैसे इंडियन इकोनॉमी को एक वैल्यूएबल कोविड-19 प्रोडक्ट्स दे सकते हैं। तो हम लोगों ने अपनी डिजिटल फैमिली की तरफ से डिजिटल प्रो सब ब्रांड लॉन्च किया, जिसमें हम लोगों ने वैल्यूएबल ब्रांड्स लाइक डिजिटल थर्मामीटर, डिजिटल ऑक्सीमीटर वाटर रीयूजेबल मास्क, ऐसी पूरी की पूरी स्किल्स डिजिटल उस पे हमने प्रो में लॉन्च की। जैसा कि डिजिटल बिजनेस फिलॉसफी में ब्रिजिंग द गैप बिटवीन डिजायरेबिलिटी एंड अफोर्डेबिलिटी में हम लोग काम करते हैं, तो हम लोगों ने डिजिटल प्रो में कोविड-19 को लेते हुए नेसेसिबिलिटी एंड अफोर्डेबिलिटी के ऊपर काम किया। और मुझे बताते हुए बड़ी खुशी महसूस हो रही है, पूरे देश में डिजिटल प्रो के थर्मामीटर, ऑक्सीमीटर और ये मास्क जा रहे हैं और हम लोगों को बेनिफिट मैक्सिमम कर पा रहे हैं, क्योंकि हम डिजिटल इंडिया वेबसाइट के थ्रू कश्मीर टू कन्याकुमारी ऑनलाइन अपने प्रोडक्ट्स को लाइव करके विजिबल करके बेचते हैं और लोगों ने बहुत अच्छे ढंग से इसको एक्सेप्ट किया है। जो चीज पहले 3,000 रुपए का एक डिजिटल थर्मामीटर बिक रहा था, 6,000 रुपए तक भी लॉकडाउन पीरियड में बिका। हम लोगों ने इसको चैलेंज किया प्राइस को और अफोर्डेबल लेकर हम आएंगे।
Thank you so much, Yogesh. You've shown that you can build for India and you can build at a price point that works for India. Ratnika, you come from the performance arts. We'll come back to you, Yogesh. We'll come back to you in a second. Ratnika, now the film industry for the last 5 months have not shot for more than 4 months. Events are not happening. So how has it impacted your livelihood as an actor, as a show host? And tell us, how are the folks in your community dealing with it? We'd like to get a realistic view from you.
Yeah, firstly, thank you so much, Anurag sir, for inviting me. It's always such a pleasure to, come and be a part of your events. Well, it's certainly been a hard time. A person who is an actor, who's an artist, I mean, they can only do what they can do if their mental health is in good place, But if there's no work, then an actor has to learn how to keep busy. So people are like learning how to watch more and more movies, to consume, responsible content that's available on OTT platforms, and also learning how to maybe create content on the online platforms that are available for people like us who are also influencers on social media. So people are just learning how to wait it out and develop a positive attitude. And I mean that's the only thing that I
What about revenues? What about compensation? Has the digital hosting of events or virtual hosting of events led to some revenues, or it hasn't been substantial?
Well, if I can be honest, I just see myself, in the past 2-3 months living in a lot of pitches, and there have been a couple of events, but not everything is paid because there were just no companies who were willing to spend any money and get an anchor on board. So this has been a very, very massive hit to the entertainment industry, and as an entrepreneur, you're only just happy while you are working and you're making money. But while there's such a massive hit, you have to really learn how to manage with what you have, and there's absolutely no other way. So people are thinking of also getting into other businesses so there can be something else. But there has been, from when you speak to people, there has been scare, and then people are saying that it's all public relations has been a mess, and companies are not willing to spend any money. So it has been quite hard.
But hopefully the entertainment industry is coming back. Shoots have started, new content is being created in a limited way. In a limited way, but it's
yes, in a limited manner, I see a little bit of work happening. There are some movies that are being shot, but again, there's a lot of scare because I've heard that a lot of people who have been shooting also have gotten the coronavirus.
So it is a healthcare issue which is not getting solved, and it is leading to a fear factor, leading to loss of livelihood. Let me at this point bring in Rishi Chhabria. Rishi, you heard your panelists. What are your opening remarks? And I'm particularly interested in knowing, has any of your fellow entrepreneurs benefited from the economic stimulus? If yes, tell us who, and what is your view on the economy going forward? Rishi Chhabria.
Hi, Mr. Batra. Good evening, and good evening to all. Mr. Batra, as far as the economic stimulus package that has been announced by the government, see, there are two ways that I look at this. On one hand, the whole 20 lakh crores sounds like a very big amount. and it was enough for the entire country to be like, oh wow, the government has done a lot for us. But if we come down to brass tacks, if that economic package, that stimulus package is not going to reach the average Indian business, which directly or indirectly leads to the employment, then what's the point? It's not making any sense. So for us, coming from, we come from the hospitality industry where, we have a hotel, and we have actually faced 70%, close to 70% loss of occupancy, which is a huge amount, for us to recover that, for a standalone hotel to recover that back is an ordeal. But, at the same time, one hand is the stimulus package, which I don't really, think has made a lot of sense or helped any business as such. The government definitely needs to ease out in terms of, the GST implications, the moratoriums, for example, I mean, you're giving a moratorium, but then you're charging interest on it. You're not allowing people to breathe.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But having said that, I'm a firm believer that, every crisis, with every crisis also comes, good opportunities.
Right.
And, we, on one hand, we own a hotel, we run a hotel. On the other hand, we have a business that manufactures, scent systems and fragrances. So we cater to a lot of hotels. Now, we, when this pandemic kicked in, we started, our R&D team started working on, why not create a formula? Because if we are installing a system in your HVAC unit,
it disinfects plus also
correct.
The smell and the aroma.
So every fragrance has its own capacity to change your mood, to work on your subconscious. Now, why not use fragrance notes that actually have disinfectant qualities? Because we are doing it through your HVAC system, rather than having you clean all the time and you use these sprays all the time. Why not we diffuse something, which are natural essential oils, safe to inhale, which can disinfect your entire premises. So, like I'm saying, every crisis, and there's a silver lining to everything.
Okay.
It's how you look at it. So we started working on a formula which, we can diffuse something in the air, which disinfects your entire premises. I would say 80 to 90%.
Okay.
I will not claim and say that it
cures
coronavirus.
If you let me interject, in terms of direct assistance, which you are saying that has to boil down to entrepreneurs or business owners getting some help, what is the one thing that would help you in your business, that if this came our way, this would make our lives easier? Is it a GST refund? What?
See, I mean, for example, compliances of GSTs, they're still very rigid on their rules. They're still, they're not relaxing anything. You have to adhere to those deadlines. You have to see, I mean, people are having a hard time even paying their employees today. On one hand, you're announcing a package. On the other hand, you're saying, okay, let me take it away from you in various ways. It's not only GST, it's even moratoriums.
Okay, now that the moratorium is now that the moratorium is done, right? Are you facing or fearing that people that are going to be in a lot of soup, not being able to pay or pay interest?
Absolutely. I mean, people, I even know of banks calling up their customers and asking them, are you still in a comfortable position to pay starting September? Banks are calling their customers and doing that. But people are not equipped to, I mean, honestly, people need until December and end of December, if nothing more than that.
Okay. Because the biggest issue with the moratorium was that, okay, you got a few months, but in the end, you end up paying interest for it. So it helps, but it helps X much. Deepak Verma ji, looking at the issues that people who are actively managing businesses right now, what would be your advice to people? How much can we look to government, and what do businesses now need to do on their own?
Oh, that's a big. Okay, so see, there are two issues that seem to be emerging here. One is that the implementation of the stimulus doesn't seem to be working. And the other is possibly the expectation that the stimulus will in some way revive businesses. Now, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen that easily. The whole purpose of the stimulus was, on the one hand, to make sure that the weakest sections of society were fed and were given sort of the opportunity to survive on a day-to-day basis. And on the other hand, that a very large number of loans could be given to small and medium scale enterprises, either directly or they could be supported by way of deferrals and moratoriums. I think they are reaching some places, they are reaching some people, but they're not reaching a whole lot of other people. I actually think that this is more a reflection of the government's inability to implement rather than the government's ability to think strategically. And I'm not surprised that this is happening. What advice can I give people? I think the only advice that I can give to people is that they should sort of hang in there and they should sort of hopefully expect that things will get better.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I can't be more proactive about it, but that is the reality. We are living in very difficult times. We are living in a very complex government environment, and we have very few options.
Okay. Mr. Niranjan Singh, in very practical terms, what should be the value? There is a monetary value to any stimulus, and you can have an argument, which we've had for several months, over it. But what is the value to be realized from strategic reforms that are coming our way? Mr. Singh, if you can hear us.
Mr. Niranjan Singh, Rishabh is asking you, what is the strategic value from the reforms, especially in the mining sector? The government prioritized it, made sure that it becomes lucrating for mining entrepreneurs to do it the right way.
Because it's a bit earlier, there are two differences actually. Earlier, a person goes to the mining department and he puts an application of 2,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees, and he goes through certain number of NOCs and then he becomes a owner of the mine. Okay. Now there's a bid system. So it is definitely added to the revenue. But regarding, but it is limited to, the corporates. The bidding has gone so high that if you look at the clear estimation of the reserves inside the mine, they will differ. So many companies, the mining companies will make slight losses on it and few may gain on it on a longer term. So it is the actual situation we'll be facing soon. And another thing, there are taxations on, say, take an example of iron ore mining. Okay. At a time, we were getting a lot of revenue, a lot of dollars because of iron ore exports. So now the government said that, okay, we need to reserve our, iron ore, so we need to they added taxation to it, which made unviable for exporters to export it. So now the Brazil and other companies were gaining, and we have a nearby neighbor, which is China, we were getting a lot of business out of it. So not that thing we lost, that sort of, take an example of iron ore. We have abundance of iron ore in India. So that sort of taxation relaxation can help mining sector. Okay. And they have to look at other sides also.
Okay. So on the reform side, let me try to get in Mr. Devan. Sumesh Devan, how much of the reforms that we've done, not just in the past 6 months, but in the past 4 or 5 years, have actually reflected that when you are dealing with cases, both in terms of bankruptcy filings or arbitrations, that life has actually become a little bit easier, that more and more disputes are being resolved, settled, and coming to a conclusion?
The regulations like insolvency regulations, bringing an insolvency law is a big welcome step, because now disputes corporates have a fear that if you are not repaying a loan of a bank or a creditor, insolvency proceedings can be initiated, and insolvency proceedings really help. But again, the problem is when you bring in a system with the insolvency, the problem is the insolvency and the company law tribunal, which have been merged. So there is a huge backlog. So the question is, any reform which comes, the reform takes you 4 steps back, because we don't have a system in place. Because as of now, the government has no system, or the judiciary has no system to clear the backlog. Again, we are looking at a big backlog of insolvency cases. Okay. The whole system is taken aback. There's a question of commercial courts have been set up. So therein they've introduced a provision before you file a recovery case, you have to go for a mediation. We have cases where a recovery was to be initiated in the month of Feb. Now we are almost in September. Even a mediation process is not initiated. So putting a step before filing a recovery case or mediation is not a very welcome step. So we need to, more. The government needs to think more about. Obviously, there is an initiative. Definitely, I would say for the last 5 or 6 years, the government intentions are amazing. The government's been taking steps to, ease doing business, make it easier for corporates, but on ground it has not happened.
Okay. Okay, so let me take the opportunity of getting back into the conversation. Yogesh Bhatia, Dr. Bhatia, you were showing us some of the products that you've been putting out.
Yes,
in terms of us realizing that there is an opportunity in all the challenges that we are facing, what then becomes 5 months later the realization? Have we seen businesses who have gone through the adaptation phase and now it's about implementation, or are there still businesses out there that are still waiting, that unless this coronavirus thing is over and unless we have a vaccine, they can't get back to what their core product lines were? Dr. Bhatia.
You'll have to unmute yourself again. Bhatia.
Yeah, we got you now. Go ahead.
Okay. जैसा कि आपने चैलेंज की बात की, कोई भी अच्छे चेंज के लिए चैलेंज बहुत जरूरी होता है. ये चैलेंज हमें जो मिला है, हमें इसको आपदा नहीं अपॉर्चुनिटी के हिसाब से लेना चाहिए. वैसा ही हम लोगों ने डिजिटल फैमिली ने किया. जैसा भी मैंने आप लोगों को डिजिटल प्रो के बारे में बताया, तो लास्ट वीक 15 अगस्त को हम लोगों ने वर्ल्ड्स मोस्ट इकोनॉमिकल 2-व्हीलर इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल लॉन्च किया है, जिसको हमने 19999 में लॉन्च किया है. उस व्हीकल को लॉन्च करने का हमारा उद्देश्य देश के युवा टीनेजर्स को हम लोगों ने एड्रेस किया है. कोई भी देश का युवा टीनेजर जब कोई 2-व्हीलर की बाइक की या स्कूटर की बात करते हैं अपने पेरेंट्स को, फैमिली को, तो पेरेंट्स समझ जाते हैं 1 लाख रुपए की जेब ढीली होने वाली है. तो हम लोगों ने डिजिटल ने ये सोचा कुछ ऐसा करते हैं जो हमारे देश के युवाओं को, टीनेजर्स को एड्रेस कर सके. तो हम लोगों ने 19999 वर्ल्ड्स मोस्ट इकोनॉमिकल 2-व्हीलर इलेक्ट्रिकल व्हीकल लॉन्च किया 15 अगस्त को, देश की आजादी के दिन, कि जिससे हमारे देश वो आने वाली ईवी की शक्ति को पहचान सके और उसके साथ आगे बढ़ सके.
पर भाटिया जी, इसमें से जब ईवी की बात करते हैं तो उसके पार्ट्स, बैटरी, इसकी बढ़ोतरी कैसे देश में की जाए? क्योंकि अगर जब तक हमारे पास मैसिव बैटरी मैन्युफैक्चर प्लांट्स नहीं होंगे यहाँ पर, इसको आप कैसे टैकल कर रहे हैं? आपने कैसे टैकल करा और आपका इसमें सुझाव क्या होगा?
मैं आपको इसमें यही बताना चाहूंगा, जब क्योंकि हम लोग टीवी, मोबाइल्स और ऑडियो वीडियो बनाने वाली कंपनी हैं, अभी रिसेंटली हम लोग 4 महीने पहले हेल्थ एंड हाइजीन में डिजिटल प्रो में आए थे. 1.5 ईयर बिफोर हम लोगों में इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल, इलेक्ट्रिक साइकिल बनाने की एक चीज जागी और हमारी टीम ने डाउन द लाइन उस पर काम किया. मैं खुद अपनी टीम के साथ लुधियाना की मार्केट में गया, बड़ी बड़ी होलसेल मार्केट्स में गया कि कंज्यूमर का ट्रेंड क्या है, कंज्यूमर क्या पसंद करता है, कितना पैसा खर्च कर सकता है और क्या आने वाला ट्रेंड है. तो उस ट्रेंड को हम लोगों ने आइडेंटिफाई किया, एड्रेस किया. उसको करने के बाद हमने ये सोचा हमारा इंडिया पॉकेट फ्रेंडली, जितना हम लोग प्रोडक्ट को पॉकेट फ्रेंडली बनाकर देंगे कंज्यूमर को, जिससे जो आज 15,000, 12,000, 20,000 की साइकिल्स बिक रही हैं, उस दाम में अगर हम इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल दे पाए, इसको देने में, डिलीवर करने में, एग्जीक्यूट करने में हमें टाइम लगा, क्योंकि हम अच्छा प्रोडक्ट कम दाम में उपलब्ध कराना चाहते हैं.
I'm going to come back and question you on supply chains, but Ritvika, come into this. What part of the adaptation process is now done? That okay, we've had 5 months to figure out things, and this is how much we can adapt. This is what's not possible, and those lessons have been learned. How much of it is still happening?
Is this for me?
Yeah, Ritvika, for you.
Yes, I just feel that I mean it's necessary to make sure that just as to what we have in our capacity, we should make use of what there is, and just like how Mr. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting your name, Mr. I'm really sorry. Yeah, Mr. Yogesh has said. I think we have to see the challenge as more of an opportunity, and to make sure that we are still progressing. Like I explained, that it's been a really challenging period for artists. I have seen this as an opportunity to regain health, because what is an entrepreneur thinking? An entrepreneur is always thinking about opportunities, about how much remuneration we are generating, how we can make more money out of the money we have. So it's a constant race that we are living. But I saw this as a great opportunity to actually be with my parents, and I've regained health.
Let me quickly get in Dr. Anurag Batra back into this conversation. Dr. Anurag Batra, in a holistic picture, and we've covered so many subjects with so many people with so many backgrounds over the course of the past three and a half months. What is the perception that you've gotten? Are we putting ourselves in a path where regularizing the reform process is coming our way, or regularizing a stimulus process are coming our way, or have we seen what had to happen for the year?
Can't be a blackened answer, but I want to give you 5 kind of contours to your question. One is, you have to look at what sector the entrepreneur is, what sector the business is. The businesses that look good for the future, even if they are not good right now, or in an infancy stage, like healthcare, like video content, like contact tracing, technology. Those businesses, edutech, are seeing people kind of pivoting, being energized about it, raising funds, raising revenues. So one, you have to look at it as sectoral way. It really depends on sectors that look good. The sectors that are hit are sectors which have huge loan exposures, and post-August you will see the real, as they say, when the water in the swimming pools run dry, we'll see if some of them are swimming naked, so to say. Third is, entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs because in spite of any external, internal support, whether it's government, they find ways to thrive. So I think this has built that resilience muscle to another level.
Yeah.
Fourth is we've built our healthcare infrastructure so fast, whose impact we'll see in future. I hope there's no second, third phase of this strain of virus or a new strain. But if there, we would be better. And fifth, dare I say, the focus on mental well-being is back.
Yeah.
Today, talking about emotional well-being, mental well-being was a fad. It was a good topic. But today, we are no longer taboo. Like we have, if we have acne and we go to a doctor, or if we have a fever which is normal, viral, we go to a doctor or whatever. I think today you go to a counselor and today we are talking of work-life balance, because technology is making us work more hours than before. There are no boundaries. But the sense that I get, if I had to sum it up, that the next 3 months may be temporarily okay for some. For example, for us in the media sector, IPL is coming, Diwali is coming, so advertising will pick up. In a lot of product categories, there will be festival buy. E-commerce is doing well. But what it has done good is, for the first time, entrepreneurs, businesses are saying, let's examine everything we do. Okay. Let's look at what is essential. Less is more, and profitability matters. Okay. So overall, it has done good. Government has done its best. We shouldn't expect too much from the government. The only thing we should expect from the government is that this is a healthcare issue. The government should do everything, and it is doing everything to tackle that. Whether it's in terms of lockdown, whether it's in terms of social distancing norms, masks, sanitation, and most importantly, giving a message through its actions that the government cares, which it has shown. Okay. I mean, there has been no social unrest. Bottom of the pyramid has been given food. And last but not the least, and I've been saying this, expect a portion 2 of the magic, a portion 3 of the magic. So there will be more. Okay. So I'm
going to pick up on that, because we have about 20 minutes left. Mr. Deepak Verma, let's just pick a quick couple of subjects. The decisions on China, both on the tech part, where we have been most aggressive, now on visas, now on trade. Is there a specific opportunity for us? And if that opportunity exists, where is it going to be realized? Because every time I speak to somebody in the tech space, the bottom line becomes that our tech manufacturing capacity does not exist. You can't manufacture the silicon chips. If you can't do the basics, you can't do the high-end stuff.
So, Rishabh, if your question to me is that can we start creating or manufacturing the technology or the apps or what have you that China is doing, I think that's not an area of focus because we're not doing those kinds of things. The opportunity that China has created for us is solely the opportunity of getting companies to look at India as an alternative source of supply to become integrated into their global supply chains, or for companies to move their businesses out of China and to move to India. So I think that is the key benefit that has come. The other benefit that has come from taking these steps against China is that we have passed a strong message onto China that we have ways to react, we have ways to hurt you, and we have taken those actions.
Okay. But
So that's where I see
Mr.
the
Verma,
context.
there were the no-brainers. The Rakhis and the crackers and the LED lights that were coming out of China. The no-brainers which should have been replicated here in India. But then there's high-tech stuff. We can't get into the 5G race because we'll have to invest another 10 years into it. AI, I don't know how far along we are. So the no-brainer part I can understand. But on the high-tech stuff, how do we get into that race?
Are you talking about the race to build low-end consumer electronics?
No, I'm just saying, if you look at the AI capacity of China, it's second only to the US. In the end, Huawei built 5G. We don't have an Indian company that's capable of building 5G. We'll have to get it from somewhere abroad. I don't know if you're investing in 6G already.
We have going to try.
Reliance.
Reliance and Jio have filed for the 5G.
Yeah, we have one company which is going to try. That's Reliance and Jio.
And we wish them the best. We want them to be creating the 5G network here in India because at least it'll be made in India. But in the end, to even make that particular hardware which you want to put up on every pole at every few hundred meters, the silicon chip then we can't make here in India. So, what fundamentally has to change there, Mr. Verma?
Rishabh, you'll have to rephrase your question because I still haven't understood the direction of your question.
If you can't make the silicon chip, how do you make a 5G box, 5G tower?
I think that's a question that Reliance has to answer. I have no idea how to make a 5G tower or 5G chip.
Okay, but
if Reliance says that they want to get into this marketplace, I'm sure that they've thought about a way of how to do it.
Okay, well, hopefully then somebody will come along and build a fabricator in our country. The same applies to things like data centers. Dr. Bhatia, why don't you comment on this? Because there is electronics and consumer goods that you are developing, right? Then comes the really fifth industrial generation stuff that is supposed to be coming next year, the 2 years from now. What kind of infrastructural support do we need as a collective, as a country, to be happening here that we can say, okay, we are on the design, on the data centers, on the high tech, we have the best?
तो मैं एक ही चीज आपको बोलना चाहूंगा, जैसे इंडिया में हम लोग बोलते हैं मेक इन इंडिया, मेड इन इंडिया, जब तक बेसिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर जस्ट लाइक एलईडी टीवी के लिए हमारे पास अगर उसका पीसीबी बनाने का, ओपन सेल का, फ्रेम का बनाने का यहाँ पे सिस्टम नहीं होगा, तब तक हमें ये ओपन सेल स्क्रीन इंपोर्ट करने पड़ेंगे. तो ये बेसिक चीजों के लिए गवर्नमेंट को आगे आना चाहिए, उसको सपोर्ट करना चाहिए. और जो बेसिक चीजें बाहर से इंपोर्ट, जो मेन चीज इंपोर्ट होती है, उसको होल्ड करके यहीं पे हमें इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर गवर्नमेंट अगर देगी, सब्सिडाइज करेगी, तो ये चीजें आगे बढ़ सकती है और कंप्लीटली हमारा इंडिया का प्रोडक्ट कंप्लीटली बन सकता है.
Okay, so it can be done. In terms of a global logic, we also have to figure out other things. Where do you see, if I can bring in at this opportunity, Rishi Chhabria. Rishi Chhabria,
yes,
the concept of a successful Indian, has that now changed? Because let's face it, a year or two ago, we weren't talking about the economy so much, even though there were economic problems even then. We are talking about it constantly now. We are now talking about the respectability that entrepreneurs and wealth creators and business takers have now. Has that changed when you're running a business?
Rishabh, I think the last 6 months of this pandemic has been has taught everyone a lot actually. You know, they've made everyone, you know, this pandemic has made everyone realize that we all need to be quick to understand how we can turn around things. You know, today, as someone from hospitality, if my restaurant shut down, you know, I don't see it as, I see it as a silver lining, because my company went on to, you know, create a platform which actually empowers women. It's a platform which is going live this month, which is called Chef, which actually brings on board, you know, I mean, restaurants shut down, but then people started cooking from home. So we decided to create a platform where we can get all these home chefs on board, and really talented home chefs, churning out some amazing food. And, you know, we created this app called Chef. Now, you know, technology taking center stage, you know, when you were speaking to Mr. Bhatia also about how, you know, is India competent enough to create technology? I completely say that India has every competence. It's available, but, you know, somehow with the whole dependency on China or I mean, we never really went out and tapped our
okay,
own
but Rishi, what do we tell? What do we tell? You know, we have a strange happening right now where kids don't know if they are out of college or not out of college yet, right? Many of them doing their CV building. What do we tell them now? Do we tell them, listen, hang everything, go and get some WorkX, do an online degree from home, or do we tell them to start their own business? What should we be telling them?
It's a matter of time, Rishabh. It's a matter of 6 to 12 months, if you ask me. You know, yes, it's been tough times, it's been bad times, but I sincerely believe the day this vaccine is out, it will not even take 24 hours for a country like India to bounce back. India has always been a very high, you know, sentiment quotient. I mean, 24 hours and India will bounce back.
Okay, it will happen. Sumesh Devan, what do we tell young people out there right now in a very complicated situation where the traditional logic of I graduate in May, you know, then I have to figure out my further degrees or start applying for a job is not applicable this year?
Kids who are going to college, most of them have started their online education. So I think that technology is playing a vital role where, the children or the young people who, going to a college, so a lot of them, have taken, in fact, I would say a lot of countries like US or UK, they are a step ahead. They've already started their new courses. So the children who are, we also need to, as a nation, we need to catch up on the technology. A lot of Indian colleges have not started the fresh courses, but a lot of overseas colleges have started the courses. That is something for us to learn. And of course, for the and a lot of people who are passing out or who have passed out this year, definitely it's wait and watch.
Okay.
Because economy is surely gonna bounce back.
Okay, but I don't know. Niranjan Singh, what do we tell our kids? Are there new sectors emerging? Do we say that, listen, this is your job skilling which you need to be doing, or this is the online education you need to be considering, or why are you in college and don't have your own company yet? What should we tell them?
Go again, please.
Okay. Niranjan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Now,
okay.
Yes.
What do we tell young students out of college? Should we ask them to be running their own companies, seeking online degrees, waiting it out, looking for skilled work experience? What should they be looking for?
Now the times are a little different. I mean, it's really important to upgrade yourself because the technology is changing on a very rapid side. Take an example. After the COVID, as an entrepreneur or as a student, everyone has faced a different world. It's like it has come up to us like a world war. I mean, there will be stories about these few days of Corona in next 20 years. But parallelly, there will be a lot of changes. Students, the way of learning has changed. Their way of working has changed. The way of, thinking about businesses have changed. Now, the companies have become more responsible. They have to be responsible. There is a saying that any business that is not doing profit is doing sin, because reason for that is that there's a lot of people behind whose livelihood depend
upon that. Okay, so is there Ratika, at a bottom line, are we seeing a position where there is a buzz and excitement about a new generation and a new logic in India that is almost palpable?
I would just say that, I as an entrepreneur, I'm just resiliently looking at the next 3 months where work should pick up. And I'm really praying that I recover everything that I haven't been able to make in the past couple of months. But yeah, I was having a conversation with my father, and he was also saying that I think it's just going to be Jan 2021 where things are hopefully going to pick up. And yeah, fingers crossed, life should come back to healthy new normalcy.
Okay,
That's what I'm
fingers
looking for.
crossed from
Ratika, if I
multiple
may
ways.
ask you,
Anurag.
Rishad,
Yeah.
if I may ask you, Ratika, what have you learned in these 5 months that will help you throughout your career in life?
What I have learned, and this is something I knew earlier also, but this is something that I really gulped down and digested, that it's very important to respect each and every single person, and irrespective of whatever, every person is equal. It's time to take responsibility for yourself, take responsibility for your mental health, and if you take responsibility for yourself, you will be able to take care of other people.
Okay, Anurag, we got 5 minutes,
Yeah.
rapid fire time.
I just want to ask all the entrepreneurs, I start with Ratika, when do you see the economy coming back? In 6 months, 12 months, 18 months? We know
Just January, I would say Jan now, nothing
Okay.
before that.
Thank
But
you
yeah,
for this.
I would say, but I am still very positive for how I'm speaking to a lot of people who are in different businesses. It should definitely be around September, second week of September, October, where things should at least be able to pick up.
Okay, things
Yeah.
start picking in September,
Yeah.
September, October, November as IPL and Diwali. So for
Yeah.
a lot of product categories and for the ecosystem of business, it may
Yes.
be a temporary lift up. Let's see after Diwali, should the momentum continue, it should be good for the economy. Your view, Yogesh Bhatia, कि economy 6 महीने में बिल्कुल उम्दा हो जाएगी, 12 या 18 महीने में होगी?
जैसा कि रत्निका ने अभी बताया, सितंबर में पॉजिटिव वाइब्रेशन आनी शुरू हो जाएंगी। मोस्ट ऑफ टाउन में, बड़े बड़े बिग मेट्रो टाउन में लॉकडाउन से बाहर आ रही है स्थिति, और मैक्सिमम आप समझ लीजिए कि दिवाली से पहले, यानी कि अक्टूबर में, नवंबर में दिवाली है, तो थिंग्स आर गोइंग आउट, बिल्कुल एक चेंजेस आने के चांसेस हैं।
Very
और जो
optimistic man.
फाइनेंशियल ईयर क्लोज होगा उन्हें वेरी गुड नोट होगा सर, वी आर ऑन ए पॉजिटिव।
Rishi Chhabria, hotels in Delhi have opened up, though they don't have the similar amount of business that they had. But once the events and parties are allowed in hotels, gatherings, maybe in September things may pick up. So what's your view on the economy? 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, or even a longer period?
Mr. Batra, realistically, it's going to be 12 months where India will be back on its feet just like never before, or even better than that. But the last quarter of this financial year, which is Jan, Feb, March 21, will see slow, consistent growth upwards. Definitely.
Okay. Sumesh Dewan,
All, the tenure would be 6 months or 12 or longer. My view is it would be very much depending upon the pace of economic reform. So the government needs to take some steps. As I said, the moratorium is getting over, insolvency is gonna start. So it's not an easy way out for the corporates. So typically, by saying in next 6 months, that's typical, everything's gonna be fine. But it could all be contingent upon how well the government picks up the economic reforms. If the reforms, maybe if the government takes up steps like lowering the rate of GST, giving some interest rates lowering down. So probably this pace of economic reforms may help the economy bouncing back much sooner.
thank you so much, Sumesh, for being honest and realistic. Mr. Singh,
Yes, I'll have to leave.
Yeah, Ratika, go ahead. Mrs. Singh, take that.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. It was a pleasure meeting everybody. Yes, thank you.
yes, Mr. Singh, your view on when will you see full economic activity back? 6 months, 12 months, 18 months?
Positive side is everyone will try to bounce back. But the reality check is there are too many factors involved in that. Lending rates in India are really high. It's not easy to get, raise funds. So that is one of the factors. Most of the businesses, they have 70% of them have been hit so bad that they will take another 3 years to, come back to normal. not talking about
3
selling
years,
masks.
that's the longest I've heard on our show.
Yes,
Last
yes.
but not the least, Mr. Deepak Verma, what's your view? When will the economy be back? In 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months? I know there is a variable of when COVID goes away, when the vaccine comes, but hopefully in the next few months. So what's your prognosis of the economy?
Predicated on the assumption that there is a vaccine in place by the early part of next year, I'd see an improvement in the economy towards the end of next year. Not before that. There's a very large lag. Lots of people have had cash reserves that have been depleted. Lots of labor has migrated back. It will take time to come back. Certain industries will become obsolete. They need to be replaced and replenished. So I think it's going to take a long time. And I think it's important that we also understand that even if the economy bounces back is not going to be back to a stellar height or what have you. The economy was struggling before COVID struck. And I think it will go back to start with to where it probably was before COVID struck.
Okay.
Okay.
After
15
that,
to 16 months is what you are saying.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there is so much left to be done, and all of this in contingent, of course, that we have agency to act upon it, both as a country, as members of it, as entrepreneurs, as thinkers, and for those people in government. We have agency to do certain things, and I think the consensus is that there still remains a lot more to be done, which would give us an indication that we need in the second half of this year, as we've seen in the first, the stimulus packages reworked out, the reform packages reworked out, perhaps a schedule that every 1 month we are tackling on a new phase of reforms, a new phase of stimulus, month on month, until we are confident that it is done. And yes, as has been mentioned, India still has, despite all the rate cuts, some of the highest interest rates in the world. So you have a double whammy for entrepreneurs who are trying to raise locally to go and serve locally. Thank you all of you for having this fascinating conversation.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.